What is up? Welcome to the Next Guy Up podcast. Today, we have a great show for you. We are talking some college football. We're talking some NFL. We got some playoff talk a little bit, some bowl talk. We are going to hit some Fat Too Fast, the finale today.
The finale. It is here.
7 months in the making. The finale is upon us, everyone. So actually tonight is Yellowstone's finale as well.
Yes, yeah.
Much like Yellowstone, I took a little bit of a break and really slow rolled the very end of it. It started off hot and really we drug our way to the end, but here we are. So we'll hear about that today.
I think I'm looking forward to the Fat to Fast finale more than I am the Yellowstone finale. I'm going to be honest. So
it could just be a disaster for all. Yeah, it very well could be.
Well, before we get started on that, and Zach just took a swig of it, I wanted to bring it up. His reward before we go into it was the famous eggnog. Zach, how's that tasting there? We've talked about this before. Give everybody a rundown of
I'm a big
the
eggnog guy. I've been training for this half marathon for the past couple of weeks, pretty heavy, and I decided I was going to not drink any eggnog this season until after the race. So I went and got myself some from Waggles tonight. I'm drinking on it. This quart that I have in front of me has like 1,300 calories in it just by itself. So we are going to not drink all of it in one go. But that's my reward. So I love an eggnog and I feel good about it.
You said that's one of the... Yeah, you said that's one of the things you will, like a seasonal thing, you make sure but you don't drink a whole lot of it. You'll get, is that probably the only one or maybe one more during the season?
I hope it's the only one. Yeah, we'll see what my self-control looks like. Needs to be the only one, probably. Well, no, I love an eggnog, though.
Yeah.
But it's very heavy.
Yeah, Jalen, my wife, was like, do you want to, while we were at the store, do you want to get an eggnog? And I was like, my biggest fear is I always think that I want it and then I drink some of it. And because if you drink that whole quart, I don't know, it just seems like a lot to me.
You'd be cooked.
But you were talking about a seasonal drink. I was going to ask you, Zach has no idea what I'm talking about, but the Winter Spice Cranberry Sprite. I literally opened this up right before we started the pod. But Zach, have you tried it before? Any takes? I'm also going to take a...
You can give us a review.
Take a swig there, huh?
Give us a review.
So the review is, I see more of the spiced. The cranberry is like a hint, but I understand the spiced part. A little bubbly, still tastes like the Sprite. I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Wow.
It's good. I like it.
Okay. That's solid. Well, we may as well go ahead and get this out of the way.
Let's do it.
On the front. Yeah. I told the boys I was going to give a shout out to everyone out there. Shout out to my guys Kyle and Josh for the support yesterday. So I ran it. Here's a little bit of backstory. A couple weeks ago, I decided I was going to do it on this date. I signed up for a race. That race got canceled. And then I signed up for another race, which is the one I actually ended up running. And so the track was not ideal, to be honest with you. I ran it once before just to make sure I knew what was going on, but it is extremely hilly. And it's like a loop. There's 3 loops, which kind of sucks because it just, you got to see the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of there was only like 120 people, I think, for doing the half marathon. So it wasn't a huge race, but it was fun. So Thursday night before the race, I get sick and I'm like throwing up and my stomach is just destroyed. And so I texted the boys on Friday. I said, this is going to be my flu game, my flu race. And it ended up being okay. I really tried to hydrate. My wife did not want me to run. She was afraid I was going to die, I think, but we did it anyways. We made it through. And so with all things considered, well, let's walk through the race here. You guys have followed me this long. We might as well.
Well.
Everything was going good. Saturday before the race, I was stretching. I was warming up, feeling pretty good. It was a little bit cold. It was about 30 degrees at start time, and it warmed up a
Mm,
good bit throughout the race. Like it started off at about 30. It ended up at like 43 ish, like when I
wow.
finished. So warmed up a good bit. I shedded a couple, like I shed my gloves off about halfway through. Because you got to go back by your car, and I just like threw it at my car as he went by it. So like I said, it was 3 laps around this kind of park, and you're on the road some. The park section was not bad. It was mostly downhill, honestly. But then the second half of each lap was almost all uphill,
Mm,
and it was terrible. Like it was. If you just look at my elevation tracker, if you're looking on like my phone where I was tracking it, it was miserable. And so it made for like one half of each lap was mostly downhill, and then the other half was just all uphill. I mean, the whole thing was either going up or down. So it made for a tough race, honestly. My first 2 laps, so I was about 9.5 miles in, and I was perfectly on my pace. I was shooting for a 10-minute pace the whole time, which should have been about 2 hours and 11 minutes. My first like 9.5 miles were dead on it, and I was cruising. There were these 2 clowns that were next to me. These 2 guys, they.
I imagine them actually
I
dressed up
was
as clowns
Well,
running
there actually
next to
was
you.
a Santa that beat me by a little bit, so that made me feel pretty bad. He was dressed in like a full Santa outfit, and I was like fighting for my life. Um, he beat me, but it's whatever.
Back
So
to the
these 2
clowns.
guys were they so my goal all the whole race was like I'm gonna keep it really steady, right at my pace. I didn't start off fast. I started off right at my pace. I'll let everyone get ahead of me, and then I passed the people who kind of started off too fast. And I was just dead set. And these 2 guys, both of them, I know that they were using me as like a pacer kind of, because I was running steady, and these guys would like pass me, and then they would stop to walk. And then as soon as I got past them, they would like speed up again. And they were
Oh
just
my
like playing
gosh.
hopscotch with me. Both of them were doing it. Like as soon as I passed them, they're like, "Ah, shoot, I can't let this guy beat me." And then they would start running again. Um, and I ran into one of the guys at the end, and I was like, "Hey, good race, man." He was like, "Yeah, you too." He's like, "I was using you." It's like you were motivating me out there to keep going, and I was like, "I know I was, you chump." But so I got that far in, and I started at about 9.5 miles. It was right before um, the last like big uphill section, and my legs they were cooked. They were done.
Mm,
I had been up to like 199 heart rate at one point in the race already. The hills just made it to where your heart rate just like spiked every lap, and so
yeah.
it just made it so hard. But my legs were like lead at this point, and I was struggling. So I knew I was going to have to stop, or I wasn't going to make it to the end. I knew I was going to have to just take a quick. I didn't stop. I mean, I was like walking quickly, but I knew I wasn't going to make it up this hilly section. And so I stopped and got a couple drinks and walked for a little bit. And that same guy I was talking about, actually, he passed me, and he like motioned for me to come on. He's like, "Come on, you got it," because he knew I was struggling at that point. I think he was just mad that I wasn't there to pace him anymore. It's like, oh shoot. So, but I kept going. I will say I started like doing. I had some cramping going on for the first time like my whole training. I hadn't cramped at
Mm,
all. But I mean, this was the furthest I'd ever run. My furthest I got in training was like 10 miles, and so every step I took past 10 miles was like my furthest run ever. It's kind of what I was, just to motivate yourself in the moment. And uh, I, physically, my body was like, my legs were done. There was a certain point where I ran the last like mile fully out, which I felt good about, but it was a struggle the last couple miles, which I just never trained that far into it. I feel like I was lied to a little bit. A lot of the articles you read and people you talk to are
uh-oh.
like, you get to 10 or 11, you're going to be good. Your adrenaline will carry you the rest of the way. I found that to not be true.
False.
I got to 10 and I was like, oh, I've never run further than this. My legs are just destroyed. I mean, I felt like I had the motivation to keep going, but my legs just didn't have it in them to especially with how the track laid out. I think if it had been a really flat track, I'd have had a shot
Yeah.
to get the whole thing done. Um, But my final time was like 2:15. So I was only maybe like 4 minutes over my goal time. I don't feel horrible about that. My pace was like 10:20. So like I said, I was like right at 10 through 9.5 miles, and then I ended up at 10:20. So it wasn't bad. It ended up being fine. I'm okay with it. Um, Not perfect conditions. It wasn't the perfect race, but it is what
Well,
it is. I got it done. I feel pretty good. So
yeah, no,
I was
that's
happy with
awesome,
it.
Zach. I was gonna say you mentioned the cramping. I feel like the dehydration station that was going through your body with the stomach bug a couple nights before probably had something to do with it. If I had to
Definitely.
guess.
They had a lot of aid stations, and I was trying to get the like Gatorade and the water in me throughout it. It was just not enough. I couldn't get enough, and I was pounding some of those gummies and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
the little gels just to see, it helped some. At the end of the day, it was mostly just at my legs. I mean, I'm super sore today and last night. Just my feet are sore, but my legs especially. I could just tell that they weren't prepared for that.
How's the
So,
walking and limber? Have you been a little limber and a
oh
little
yeah,
weak
I've been
throughout the?
I've taken some ibuprofen today for sure, but I'm definitely sore. This is the sorest I've been since I started training for sure. Um, but it was a good. I'm happy I did it. Thank you to everyone for being along for the journey. It's been fun. Um, yeah,
The finale. Clap one out for
that's
Zach,
it,
everybody.
folks. We did it.
He
And to
did
the end
it.
of the day, we're a half marathon finisher. So didn't break any records, but I got it done. So I
You
feel good
broke
about
your
that.
own record. That's what's most
Broke my own
important.
record. That's true. I set a
Um,
PR.
with it being your flu game, your flu run,
Mm-hmm.
should have worn a Michael Jordan jersey. That
Should
was my
have.
yeah. Should have. Should have. Could have.
I
Would
would
have.
have. Maybe I would
And
have beat the guy
then
in the Santa Claus outfit that beat me.
and then I
Sucks.
even suggested taking a page out of Michael Scott's book with the chicken Alfredo, fettuccine
I did have
Alfredo.
some spaghetti the night before.
There you go.
I feel like
Okay.
it helped me some.
Could have. All right, there it is. The
There it is,
finale,
folks.
everybody. Put it in the books. The record
It's good
books. Zach's
stuff.
record book.
Probably not going to run again for a while. That's probably we're probably good. I'm good on that.
That's it for the rest of your life. He's done,
Probably
everybody.
never again.
One and done.
No, one day we'll get back. Probably not soon.
Marathon. Everybody needs it.
Probably never marathon.
Fat to Fast
I,
Volume 2,
I've talked to some people.
Season 2.
I think if I were going to do something else, I think I would like to try a like sprint triathlon. They do something
There
around
you
the
go.
area, and I mean it's only like a 5K, but it has biking and it has. I think that'd be fun. A fun test to see.
I'm
So I don't
here
know.
for it.
Maybe that'll be next year's challenge.
With some of these like Ironmans and stuff, I'm like the swimming part would
Definitely
probably
not an
get me.
Ironman. Yeah. No, sprint triathlon's only like a couple hundred yards swimming, and then like
Yeah.
12 miles biking, and then a 5K. Basically, it's not bad.
Yeah.
A full like Olympic triathlon is much further. An Ironman is like half a mile swimming, and
Mm.
then like 117 miles biking, and then a full marathon. Ironman is just like the absolute most insane thing.
Wait,
I can't imagine there's people that are doing that out there.
there's got to be smaller versions of that because I
There
think
is, yeah.
I think I have. Okay, I know some people said they've done one, and there's no way they've done the one that you
There's
just
not that
mentioned.
many of them that actually happen. They're big events when they do happen because there's
Yeah.
not that many. But that's a full Ironman is like half a mile
Okay.
swim, 117-mile bike, I think, and then a full 26-mile marathon.
It's insane.
I mean, it takes you probably like 8 hours or so to finish it. I think it's like a full day. People
Okay,
who
so
train those a lot of times are like pros, like the people who are getting
yeah.
sponsored and paid to be athletes and participate in those kind of events.
So is that
I
season
can't even
23 of Fat to Fast?
Yeah, we'll get there. I would die so fast. I can't even imagine doing that.
All right, so let's get into some
Yeah.
Well, you want to do some while we're here? Should we do some food for thoughts? Did you have? I have one.
Yeah, I've got one.
Okay,
Food for thought. Critically acclaimed. I'm not actually sure it's critically acclaimed, but
it is to us.
YouTube show. It's
Mm,
fun. I've critically acclaimed it. We're a media source.
that's right.
Hot Ones got purchased from BuzzFeed. I didn't even know BuzzFeed owned Hot Ones until this happened. But apparently, Sean Evans, the guy who hosts it, bought Hot Ones along with some other investors from BuzzFeed, who originally owned it, for $82.5 million. That's a lot of money.
Dang.
This guy really made an $82.5 million show just by like eating hot wings with
Yes.
celebrities and cartoon
What are we
characters
doing
sometimes.
with our lives, huh?
And
It's pretty
cartoon
entertaining.
characters. I mean, they're
Yeah,
fun. I watch a lot of them.
yeah.
There's probably gonna be some spin-offs, and there's going to be like a cold ones.
Cold ones.
I don't know how that would work.
Or are they eating like ice cream? Getting brain freezes, maybe.
I did see.
They're
I
just
kind
like
of stole
drinking
that from a
Slurpees.
tweet. There,
Oh,
I saw a tweet. I'm gonna give credit for whoever it is. And it was like, I want to start cold ones where instead of hot wings, you just drink beers the whole time and you just get really drunk throughout the episode. Which that would be pretty entertaining, probably too.
Are you technically giving credit if you're not giving credit to anybody?
I don't even know who it was. I'm not citing anything. It was.
I know, it's just funny that you said I'm giving credit to
I'm
no
just not
one.
claiming it
But
as my own intellectual property.
well, there you go.
Yeah. Shout out.
Okay, let me do mine now.
Okay.
Would you taste or try, or have you heard of this? Pizza Hut launches pizza wine, a tomato wine as bold as your favorite slice.
No.
What are we doing here? I think it's more for just like clicks and people to try or just to buy it, just to say that they bought it. But I can't imagine that being very good. And I've never even had a Bloody Mary, but I feel like the tomato juice and like something like that would just be what that would taste like. Tomato. Yeah.
I don't know exactly know what they were shooting for with that. I feel like their marketing could have been like cheese and wine, and then did like cheese, pizza cheese.
But there it is, right there.
I think that's a bad marketing move there, Pizza Hut.
For sure,
guys.
Sorry, guys.
Swing and a miss.
Let's see. Limited edition gift set for $60. 2 bottles for $60. So
wow.
Bottle for $30. There you go. All right, you're up next.
Okay, I have a couple of press releases actually.
Well, let's do it.
I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name correct. We have a next guy up situation here. 16-year-old. This happened a couple weeks ago, but it's my first time back on. Gout is his name. Gout.
Sounds about right.
Yep. 16-year-old from Australia. Broke the Australian record for 200-meter dash with 20.04 seconds. If you haven't seen it, look up the video because it is just like unbelievable seeing him race. He's only 16, so he is faster than Usain Bolt was at 16. And this is an Australian country record. Pretty big deal.
Crazy.
People are kind of looking to him as the next guy up in the running community to be the fastest man in the world. So keep an eye out for Gout. Pretty sick name as well. I don't know if that's like his first and last name. I don't know how that works because they're the same name. But I think it's like his real name.
They are the same name.
So I don't know. Don't ask me. Next, Jeremy Allen White of the Bear fame will officially star as Jabba the Hutt's son in The Mandalorian and Grogu. Yeah, that's pretty much all I know.
Fascinating stuff.
Be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout
I hope he's like
for
cooking
that guy.
stuff. That'd be hilarious. Next, Greta Gerwig, uh, who is the like director of the Barbie movie, has done a lot of kind of artsy type stuff, is directing a Chronicles of Narnia film, and it's going to start recording or filming in July 2025. Listen to this quote as someone involved said about this movie. It's a very new take. It's all about rock and roll, says Amy Pascal.
Chronicles of Narnia is all about rock and roll. Makes complete sense. I'm here for it.
This might be horrible, truly.
Is this like off the books still, or are we done? Are we doing a remake?
Oh yeah, it's totally fresh take on it. It's not continuing. No, okay, I see what you're saying now. I think it's going to be based off the first book, if I had to guess.
Okay.
I don't know the way. From everything I've heard about it, I'm very nervous as to what they have in plans, because it does not seem to be a faithful adaptation, even planning to be close to one. So it could be a train wreck for sure.
When we
I
see
don't know
things like this,
why we needed this.
I just think like that it's just money grab. And when's the last time any of this like ever panned out of like a remake or anything?
Well,
I'm
Rings
curious
of
to
Power
see how
went pretty poorly. They're
do
still
what?
making episodes of it. Rings of Power
Oh yeah,
was the last one that was kind of similar to what is happening here. I think this is gonna be a Netflix film though.
They're doing the Harry Potter series on HBO, where it's
Correct.
like
Which some of the
each
casting
season
has
is a
been
book.
very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna be crazy because I saw some. I wasn't gonna talk about it today, but now that you mentioned it, season 1 is gonna have 8 hours, and that's the shortest book by far. Like that's like a 300-page book, and it's gonna be 8 hours. The 6th book is like 900 pages. Like, are they gonna have a 24 episode season just over one book? And this is gonna be a very long, like longer than any HBO show's been recently. So if they can, I mean, that would be awesome. I wouldn't mind if they were gonna be really faithful at adapting the books. That was one of the big criticisms of the movie, is that you should have enough time to get all the details and stuff in.
Exactly.
I'm not sure that's what they have in store. If I know, people just don't do that typically.
Here's the thing,
it worked
though.
for like Lord of the Rings. They did a very faithful adaptation, and it was hugely successful. Maybe that's what. Maybe they're just like, let's do it page by page. We're gonna hit all the high points. But they're casting a lot of younger actors, especially for the professors. They're doing some weird stuff. So I'm not extremely hopeful, but I hope it's good. I mean, I would really enjoy a really faithful adaptation. So
I think they can do this much. So how many books were there total? I always throws me off because do what?
7.
Okay, it throws me off because there's a part 2, 1 and 2. Yes, so 7 books. But you're talking, how many actual episodes could they have in this? Because the fan base is such diehard that they could probably have 100 episodes of this and people would watch it.
That's the thing is, I think there is a potential people would watch it for sure.
The amount of money that they have made off of merchandising still every year. Like, I see this stuff popping up. And how long ago did the movies come out and you're still talking about them? You go down to Walmart and there's still like a whole section of just Harry Potter stuff that people are buying. So I think that's such a diehard fan base, and you're going to only gain more You already have the people that watch the movies and read the books, and you're going to just gain more fans. So I could see them doing as many as they could get out of it, and it being beneficial. So there you go. Okay.
Agree. I think one of the big concerns there as well is that J.K. Rowling has come under so much criticism from
takes.
I think that they might try and zig instead of zag and try and make everybody happy, and I don't think that would go well. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Okay.
Last one, Malcolm in the Middle. revival series in the works at
Mm.
Disney Plus. Were you Malcolm in the Middle fan?
We just need. I've seen a little bit of it. Why we need more of this? They had the
Bryan Cranston.
yeah. We did the Boy Meets World and then Girl Meets World, and then they've added what other series?
Yeah, but
So
a lot
they
of
did
those
a
actors kind of like didn't have any. The thing that makes this interesting, I think, is the Bryan Cranston of it all. He obviously left the show and became a humongous actor. Like his career skyrocketed, where Frankie Muniz, his career kind of just went nowhere. I mean,
he does like racing, right? Doesn't he
he was
like
a child
race?
actor, and yeah, he's kind of a weirdo, probably like all child actors. He'd made a couple movies, but Bryan Cranston was in the star in one of the like highest rated TV shows of all time, and so they're both coming back together along with it looks like the mom's character. At least those three are coming back for the revival. So I don't know exactly how that's going to work. I don't. I don't know if it's like Frankie Muniz's character is Malcolm is struggling through life or recently divorced and living with his parents. I don't. They're probably doing something stupid like that. Has to go back and live at home with his parents. That's probably what they're going to do.
You gonna watch it?
I don't know. Maybe just for Bryan Cranston, potentially.
Potentially, he says. All right.
I feel like I had one more thing I was going to say. One more.
Well, yes, go ahead.
Okay. I have one more thing. We're going to. This is kind of getting into some football stuff, so we can make the transition. We're going to save a lot of playoff talk for our Thursday episode.
Yep.
We'll see if Tinsley is back on, but that's going to be a big episode for us. We will be covering all of the playoff matchups, and we'll do some previews of those 4 big games. There's kind of a funny story that I'm sure a lot of people have been locked into, but if you're not locked into the Tennessee sphere, some fun stuff has been happening with the ticketing for the Ohio State game. Mason, are you familiar?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I've seen a couple things out there of the. You sent one as well.
Yeah, I probably did. I was pretty locked into it.
Yeah, the guy that photoshopped. Yeah, go ahead.
There's been a lot of stuff about. There's been a lot to be said about these home games, who's hosting them, and the home playoff environments. Apparently, the college football playoff is having a little bit more control people would like about what's happening at the stadium, controlling what goes on the video board and how players get announced, and kind of doing a little bit more than most people would like, if you're a home team, especially. But Tennessee has taken it upon themselves to try and get as many people into Ohio State Stadium as possible, going so far as to steal a code meant for season ticket holders for Ohio State and start buying up tickets that were allocated towards season ticket holders for Ohio State. And it went so far that the athletic director of Ohio State had to come out and make a press conference, or had to make a press release that please do not sell your tickets to Tennessee fans because they are trying to invade our stadium, which is definitely happening, which is going to be hilarious. I saw someone else pulled someone with some insider knowledge got some data from like SeatGeek and said that 42% of tickets sold to the game had come from the state of Tennessee so far.
Holy cow.
On their resale market. So I'm not going to say there's 40% of the stadium going to be orange, because I think it's only the resale market, and who knows if that data is fully accurate. But it's purely conjecture right now. Obviously, my side of the internet is very UT heavy, so it seems like there's a lot. I would not be surprised if it was about 30%, though, when it's all said and done. About a third of the stadium was orange. I wouldn't be shocked by that.
Yeah. Didn't you send something about someone photoshopped a Indiana jersey on them so that they could get the...
I think
to prove that they were an Indiana fan?
Ticketmaster or whoever it was that was selling it, you had to verify you were an Ohio State fan.
Yeah.
It was like password protected, where the password was literally like OSUFB. And one person found it and just put it all over the internet, and then all the Tennessee fans had it. So I think they eventually shut it down because they realized it was like being hacked, basically. But you had to prove you were an Ohio State fan, so they were just like photoshopping themselves in Ohio State gear, like using AI. Truly a pretty hilarious story. We'll see how it all pans out. It may be much ado about nothing, and it may just be a pretty normal game, but would be pretty electric if it was a large amount of Tennessee fans in there.
That'd be awesome. And you're not going to be there. It's a shame.
I will not. But tickets are pretty cheap. If I did not have a small baby at home, I would be seriously considering it.
Are they actually cheap?
Like less than $200. That's the thing, is that Tennessee fans have been paying $600 to go watch Tennessee play
regular
like garbage
season
teams.
game.
Tennessee tickets are some of the most expensive in the country, so $200 is nothing for Tennessee fans. They've been paying more than that all season. And so that's why I think the biggest reason why it's like a lot of Tennessee fans are like, I'll drive 7 or 8 hours and pay a couple $100 to go watch my playoff game. And really and truly, if I didn't have a baby, that I would probably try and make the trip because I think it'd be awesome. Yeah.
All right. So speaking of college football, we want to finish up with, and we're going to trademark this as Zack's top 5 bowl games segment. That's it. I'm not going.
There is a lot of bowl games out there. I didn't want to necessarily talk about all of them because there's a lot of garbage bowl games. In fact, we saw that one team completely dropped out of their bowl game. That would be Marshall, which is kind of a bummer for those people who are Marshall fans. I don't know all the details. Apparently, their coach got a new job at a bigger school, and he's taking like 24 of his players with him. So I think they literally just like almost didn't have enough players to field like a team.
Well, that's a good reason.
So it looks like they've been replaced with Louisiana Tech. So shout out to Louisiana Tech for getting your bowl spot.
So I'm sure in your top 5, you're going to have Georgia Southern and Sam Houston, I believe.
Could be electric.
Or Coastal Carolina and UTSA, Myrtle Beach Bowl. I don't know.
There's going to be some bad bowls out here. I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, I'm starting off with this one. Iowa State versus Miami. You know which bowl this is, Mason?
Is it the Kellogg's Bowl?
It's the Pop-Tarts Bowl,
Pop-Tart
baby.
Bowl?
They released the trophy today. The trophy has a working toaster built into it that you can plug in, and it fits a full-size Pop-Tart into it. This game's going to be fun. I mean, obviously a Miami team that just missed out on a playoff. Iowa State
all
team
season long.
I mean, they're playing the Pop-Tarts Bowl now and not the playoff. So who's their winner?
Wish Tinsley was here right now.
It should. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here talking about some of these games. We'll do some more bowl talk once Tins is here, and we can discuss them some.
Because this game is even after Christmas. This is on the 28th, so we got some time.
Oh, we got plenty of time. Yeah, I kind of just want to see once now that all the bowls have been released. I kind of wanted to give some of my ones I thought
for sure
interesting.
I'm here for it.
Texas A&M versus USC. I think that's gonna be a fun one in Las Vegas. That is the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. That is the worst bowl name I've ever heard. But A&M is playing USC, and that one, I think that's going to be a fun one. Low key, a fun game here. Birmingham Bowl. Georgia Tech Vanderbilt. Both these teams had some huge upsets or some huge almost upsets throughout the season. Actually, they both had really big upsets. Both of them kept the team out of the playoff, really. Georgia Tech kept Miami out. Vanderbilt kept Bama out. They are playing each other. That's actually going to be a very fun ball game. There's some fun quarterback play going to be happening there. Expect that one to be good.
Georgia's 2.5-point favorites. I kind of like Vandy there.
Georgia Tech. To be honest, I know if Diego Pavia is for sure playing, I think I'm kind of surprised he hasn't popped up in some portal situation yet. But that'll be fun. Quick shout out to Butch Jones and Arkansas State playing in the 68 Ventures Bowl against Bowling Green. What a great season for the boys down there for Butch Jones. Just kidding, Butch Jones.
Was that on your top 5?
Yeah,
or you
I
just
just
want to
wanted to
throw
give
shade?
Butch Jones a shout out. Yeah, he deserves it. Okay. You feel good? I'm
Love
trying
it.
to.
I feel great.
Duke Ole Miss will be interesting in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Duke had a low-key very good season. It's going to be a question of whether Ole Miss comes out and is pretty much with all these games, and why predicting bowl games is just one of the most impossible things to do these days because of the opt-outs and because of the transfer portal, and it's like who's actually fielding real teams out here. I don't even know the answer to it. So you're kind of just doing some storyline work and seeing which it's pretty much a question of which team is given up and which team. There's a huge letdown factor where if you had playoff expectations and you're playing in like the Tax Slayer Bowl, you're like, what are we doing here? You know? Two more, and these are going to be real games, and then we can be done here. The ReliaQuest Bowl. This is the funniest of all the bowls. This is Alabama, Michigan, folks. And no, we're not. This is not a playoff game. This is the ReliaQuest Bowl. Alabama should win by like 25 points at least. Michigan is terrible. I don't know how Alabama got this pool. They get to take a trip to Florida, I guess, and spend some of your some cold weather down there. It's on New Year's Eve. From what I've heard, DeBoer's got the boys ready. Jalen Hurts is going to play. The rest of the guys are going to play. We'll see if that pans out. If they all play, Michigan doesn't have a chance at that one. So
10-point favorites.
One I think is actually what's the spread?
10 points.
Yeah, that makes sense. Last one here. The Cheez-It Citrus Bowl.
Yep.
South Carolina, Illinois. If these teams are actually intact at this point, this is probably the best game, the best bowl game. Illinois battled through some tough Big Ten games. I mean, they played most of the contenders in the Big Ten. And South Carolina, debatably, arguably should have been a playoff team, was playing like a playoff team at the very least at the end of the season. I think it's going to be a question of whether they come out swinging, ready to show the world they were wrong, or whether they come out kind of like Florida State did last year and just kind of roll over and die and say, well, our season's over.
Okay, my bowl of the what I'm looking forward to the most is the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. These names.
Who's playing in it?
Miami, Ohio, and Colorado State.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. Snoop Dogg.
It's not even their whole name. It's the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl presented by Gin and Juice by Dre and Snoop. That's the
These
worst
are just
name.
Commercial ads at this point. I saw the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl on here.
Oh, yeah.
Kinder's Texas Bowl.
What about the Go fun. Bowling Military Bowl?
I didn't even see that one.
East Carolina versus NC State. NC State, how do they even get to a bowl game? They're horrible.
Yeah.
We need to, I think what we should do on the Thursday, let's write this down.
Okay.
I think we need to power rank all of the bowl names.
The names.
Nothing but just the names.
Just the names. It doesn't have to do with the matchups. I love it. Let's do it.
Nothing about the matchup.
Okay, deal. Have something to look forward to.
Let's write that down, somebody. We'll save that. We'll make our lists. Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. Bowl season is one of those interesting things that you're almost wondering if it's gonna be a thing of the past soon, whether it's how long this kind of extended bowl season is gonna last. They're turning into like exhibition games as it is.
Yep.
It's gonna be a question of whether or not the sponsors are gonna continue making money or not. I mean, I think most teams are happy to travel to Florida or to Arizona or to somewhere nice, Hawaii. California, play in a bowl game, and just kind of get a chance for your younger guys to get some reps. Let your fans travel if they want to, and I think there's a chance that's the case. But I've also heard that a lot of teams lose money going to big bowl games, like financially sending your whole team to a destination game. You don't have a lot of fans travel if it's not a big bowl game, and you lose money sometimes. So that's also a potential where these are, especially if the field gets expanded any further than it already is, where these other bowl games are going to start floating away, which would be a travesty of the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Travesty.
They're doing some
We
good
definitely
marketing over
do
there
it.
at Pop-Tarts Bowl.
We need to do a name ranking for sure on Thursday.
Okay, what's coming up?
We'll put that on the schedule. Yeah, so we'll definitely do a deep dive on some of the games closer to time, and then playoffs, of course, for sure. But Zach, is that an episode? That seems like an episode.
Feels great.
All right, perfect. Well, we appreciate you guys listening and just showing your support each and every episode and week. We ask that you just check us out on socials if you haven't already, and then also our Discord. Tinsley will maybe be back next week or next episode, possibly. So we'll have them back. But we appreciate you guys, and you all have a good one. See ya.
See ya.